Oh, yeah, exhausted to be honest. I don't know how the boys are feeling. Obviously, it was a really tight game, 8-8 at half time, and then we win by a point, having been behind. Yeah, really tough game, but really proud and pleased for the whole club. To be honest, I thought the night was great. Emotion out there, the support from both sets of fans. It created an electric night, and then a really tough game. We knew it was going to be. We've had a couple of really tight games against them so far this year, and to come out on top of that one is really pleasing for us. We've lost quite a few tightish games this year, so for us to win that one was really pleasing.
You talked to us about the drop goal. He seems to have it pretty sweet, did Mason Lino, didn't he? And I don't imagine you have to buy a drink at the bar tonight.
No, to be honest, I don't know how he got it through. It's a fair bit of pressure. I thought they were probably offside, to be honest, but he's got it over. He's kicked a couple this year, and neither of them have been sort of picture perfect, but it doesn't really matter, does it? It's about getting it between the posts, and he's done that great tonight. I thought he had an outstanding last sort of 7 minutes. He picked the pass for Stoz to score, and then he gets the drop goal. So yeah, he's done some unbelievable things this year so far, mate. Just when we haven't had all our halfbacks out there, he's held us together, and he's won us a couple of games when we've been on the edge really. So yeah, he was awesome tonight. Those last sort of 6-7 minutes.
Just how deep did your players have to dig tonight? I think even with around 20 to go, it looked as if players were starting to tire and fatigue was setting.
Yeah, rugby league is one of those. It's one of those games that puts you under a lot of pressure in it physically, and we had a lot of pressure on their line, and we couldn't quite execute on it. They're a pretty good defensive team on their own line. They're probably meaner than anybody else. You look at the stats. So I thought we were a little bit lateral, and then they go get the first set inside our line. I thought it was a pretty soft try to concede, and then we, all right, what we're going to do now? I just thought we had to dig really deep there. We've got some pretty strong leaders in there, people like Mikey and Pitsy and those guys. They did a great job there at the end to hold our nerve, not get too rattled, and then we came up with a little bit more of a direct play to get points, and then at the end it's just war of attrition, isn't it? When you're getting towards golden point and they have a drop goal, and then when you give 7 tackles away, it's tough then, because you're going to have a chance. I think it's just the nature of the game. Tap on 20 and 7 tackles puts you in good position, and I'm glad we didn't go golden point. I think that would have been a pretty tough toss of a coin, that, to be honest. But yeah, big win for us.
Do you think it might be swinging Leeds away when Croft hits his attempt, because it looked as if it was floating over at one point?
Yeah, I just looked at the fans behind the sticks pretty early. They called it, and that's the only way you can see it from the angle I was. And I was pretty pleased to hear the guys behind the sticks sort of cheering, and then it's a great finish from the boys.
Push back in the playoff spots for now. Ball back in Hull's court as well for later this weekend. Just how big a win is it in that sort of context as well? Yeah,
well, if you look at the sort of 2 games that on the fixture list, when we had Leeds and St Helens, I think they've got Huddersfield and Salford, and no disrespect to anybody, but the 2 games that we've got are obviously tougher games, both at home, but really tough games. So I thought it was important that we won tonight. I think the St Helens game will be really important as well, because there's a bit of ping pong at the moment, isn't there? And we know it's going to be a challenge that will probably go down to the wire. Whether Warrington can hang tough and stay in the mix, well, the story will be told. But I think for us and Hull, it's who's going to be the toughest and hold the nerve to the end of the season. But that gives us a real good start to the weekend. We've got a week off next week. Especially the players who've been playing for sort of 19, 20 weeks. I think it's massive for them boys to get a breather. We've got a few other players who will need to do some work next week, but ultimately we've done a great job going into a week off.
Do games like that stand you in good stead going forward with this season, when you'll likely be in more pressure games, more pressure scenarios?
Yeah, I think so. We've lost there's been 3 games that have sort of got away from us a little bit. There's 2 against St Helens, 1 against OKR. The rest of the games have been 4-6 points. We've lost some tight games, and I've felt like we've needed to sort of nail a couple of tight ones. We beat Cassia, the drop goal, and then we've won this game. I think just being under that pressure and knowing that you can come out the other side, I think is really important. Some things for us to improve, but ultimately when you're looking at attitude and being able to hang tough when you're under pressure, then that'll really help us. I think it gives us a lot of confidence.
Injury-wise, how have you come through tonight?
Yeah, I think we're all right. Cam Scott got a little bit of a knee strain. He could have played on, but we had Seth on the bench. I thought it was pretty good when he came off the bench. Apart from that, I don't think we've got too much. And then obviously we had a few boys, pull out. Isaiah was suspended. Uddy's got tonsillitis. Caleb's got a decent calf injury, so he'll be missing for a fair while. But we'll get a few boys back. A little bit more competition for places against St Helens, and another big game for us.
Just finally, from me, you referenced it earlier. The night as a whole, packed crowd, sell-out as it was, game going down to the wire like that. Those are the nights that the stadium's been waiting for a few years, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I can only speak about the last couple of years. Obviously, last year was a big year for us, a reset year. Won the grand final here. It was buzzing. It was packed. And it's been more of the same this year. Even against Catalan, the club did a great job with getting the numbers down here, and then tonight was electric. I thought you could sort of get a bit of a sizzle as the boys came out, and you've got the fireworks, and there's a lot of Leeds fans there. So it was a balanced game from the fans' perspective, and then obviously a balanced game, a real tight game. And for the club, I think it's huge. Nights like these, it shows that the club's in a great place and on and off the field, which is key. And I think the fan base, that stand up if you love the Trin is, something that I've really got to love, and I think it sort of brings the place to life. So it's great to hear.
Cheers.
Daryl, Mason got the 20 shirt at the start of the year. Has he even surprised you with how well he's gone this year?
Yeah, it was a challenge for him, wasn't it? I think they're always challenging players, and that was probably a big one for Mace. But nothing's ever off the table, is it? Your number really doesn't matter. It's about how you train and play. I think Mace would be the first to say that he probably had the best of pre-seasons over quite a few years, and he had an outstanding pre-season this year and set himself up, and he's just carried on. Really, his relationship with Truey has been pretty special. It's a growing relationship. We've got obviously Ollie Russell, who's just coming back from injury, and that's he's the pressure on him is to get better and grow and put pressure on those 2 guys that are in the team at the moment. And Miles Lawford's just come back, and he's starting to look sharp, and he started playing again. So it's all that competition for places that gets the best out of players, and Mace has been probably the guy who's really gone after that this year and reaped the most rewards so far.
Do you think it lit a bit of a fire under him then? Giving him that
I mean, you can see it yourself, can't you? I think, I talked to him about playing 9 at one point. I think, that light a fire under me as well, if I'm honest. So, he's been outstanding, I have to say, and because he's been the only recognised half out there at times, and he's held the team together impeccably, which, it's testament to him. I think he's matured. I think I've said this before this year. I just think he's matured as a player. I think he's generally been a player who bounces around and does his stuff, but he's had to anchor and hold the team together, and that takes a bit of maturity, and I think he's really grown with that.
Are you someone who pays attention to the results? Because obviously you won last week, you saw we're going to win. But now I guess you've reeled in a couple of other teams, haven't you?
Well, yeah, you don't know where it's going to go. We've got St Helens in a couple of weeks, and they've been a team we've really struggled against. So I'd want to see us pretty heavily motivated for that game. And I just think we are capable of going on a run. So yeah, I just think Hull are doing well. They've beat us in 2 tight games, and one of those results goes our way, it's entirely different. But look, we are where we are. We're in a battle. That's the game. That's the beauty of it, isn't it? And look, you never know. We can bring other teams into it if we keep winning, and then who knows? You don't know where you're going to finish, do you? But I think you've seen tonight and throughout the year that generally it doesn't really matter who we're playing against. If we're on, then we're not going to be far off. And if we learn to win tight games, then I'd say we'd be a fair threat. If we can get ourselves in the six.